So Virgin Galactic stock has delayed its flights yet again, this time pushing its flights all the way back to the end of 2022. This spooked short-term investors and sent the stock tumbling near enough 20% in one trading day. With competitors like Blue Origin and even SpaceX moving forward with commercialized flights, does this warrant the beginning of the end of Virgin Galactic stock, or does this 20% discount offer nothing more than a great buying opportunity? Now, if you are a returning subscriber to the channel, you will know I am a massive sci-fi geek, and I think that the space industry will be the biggest sector the market will have ever had at some point in the next 20 or 30 years. And given that Virgin Galactic is one of the few companies listed, one of the first space companies to be listed on the stock market, surely this company does have a bright future. But nonetheless, this is a very scary time for Virgin Galactic investors. Should you sell now and buy lower, or should you buy and wait for the rip? All this and more coming up in this video, as we are about to give a Virgin another STI. Now, as always, before we get into it, if you could do me the kind favor, smash that like button so hard it goes into orbit. And if you want to see when I'm buying and selling Virgin Galactic stock, you can sign up with eToro on the pinned comment, deposit, make a trade, and you get lifetime access to our glorious LWT chat room, where everyday investors come together and talk about what stocks they're buying and selling. But moving on and sticking with Virgin Galactic stock, it's been a pretty tough time for this company. This is something no investor wants to see. A company that is still not profitable, still does not have great revenues, delaying its product. And in this case, they delayed their commercial flights to the end of 2022, more than a year away. Now, I want to be fully transparent here. I do think Virgin Galactic, if ran correctly, does have a potentially huge future. I think space tourism will be massive at some point in the future. But nonetheless, this is a worrisome time for Virgin Galactic investors, especially in the short term, because I think this drop is just the beginning. Virgin Galactic said they are entering an enhancement period to upgrade its aircraft, as they found a possible drop in strength in a material used to modify specific joints on its aircraft. Now, as you can understand, when stuff goes into space, if there's usually a problem, it sometimes goes boom. But given the fact that they sent their founder, Richard Branson, into space on an aircraft that has a potentially faulty joint, is just, well, it's scary. And, you know, this freaked out investors and sent this stock falling, like I said, 20% on the news of the delays. And it's understandable. But does this warrant a buy, or does it warrant a sell? Let's have a little look into some of the negative news, and then we'll move on to the positive news. So firstly, the negative news. If we look at the chart, we can see that all-time highs in February were around about $60 a share, and now they are 1/3 of that, around about 20. People make a lot of mistakes here. When you are a new investor, we've all done it, me included, looked at a chart and seen all-time highs at this, it's had a recent dip, it's got to go back at least half, or if not all that amount, buy low, sell high. Very basic. And trust me, this never works out in the long term. Just because you're buying something that's low and it has a recent all-time highs does not mean it's going to get there. In fact, in most cases, it never does. Look at Cisco, a huge company with huge revenues, fell in the dot-com bubble, and it is still not at its all-time highs, and the dot-com bubble was, well, how many years ago? So think about it. This is a company with huge revenue, Cisco I'm talking about, which still has not recovered. So you need to sort of understand, just because the stock price looks cheap on the chart, it literally means diddly squat. But this is the biggest worry for me here, which is two things in one. If we look at the filings, we can see that Virgin Galactic stock has around about $550 million on their last quarterly filings. That's how much cash they have on hand to fund their projects, to pay their staff, and to obviously develop and enhance their spacecraft. But the disadvantage here is their burn rate. If we look at their short-term liabilities, we can see that they're burning around about $112 million a quarter in the short term, and if we include their long-term liabilities into that, it totals to around about $230 million a quarter, and they've only got $550 million on hand. So that means in the next couple of quarters, they're going to have burnt through this cash, and it's pretty obvious with the delays in flights, they're not selling any tickets, so their revenue coming in, well, it doesn't exist yet. So unless they get some creative way that nobody's ever thought of to sell tickets early, and I mean, realistically, let's be honest, you've got Blue Origin who are sending people into space sooner, you've got SpaceX looking at doing it as well for a longer period of time, and Virgin Galactic who are just delaying and delaying and delaying. Why would you, as a multi-billionaire, someone who can afford a $500,000 ticket, put your money with Virgin Galactic when there's no, it feels like there's no guarantee they're actually going to send you into space. And even if they do, it's only going to be for a couple of minutes. So if we look at it logically, they're not going to have any revenue coming in until the commercial flights look like they're going to start, which means the only way this company survives, and that's what I'm saying, survives, not thrives, is by doing a public offering, a stock offering, which means they are diluting investors to raise share capital. And they've been doing this since they merged with their SPAC. Since 2020, they've gone from 202 million shares outstanding to 240 million. That's a 20% dilution in little over a year. And a lot of people are probably thinking it's a growth stock, dilution is needed, which is true. They do need to dilute because if they didn't, they would go bankrupt. But as they do dilute, current shareholders own less and less and less of the company. I mean, think about it. When it became SPCE, when it became Virgin Galactic stock and the merger was complete with their previous SPAC, if you bought on the date of the merger, you now own 20% less of the revenue generated in the future from this company. It is not good for long-term investors. People need to start understanding this. There's a very simple thing I say: company IPOs, there's 10 shares outstanding, you buy one, you own 10% of this company. As soon as they double their float, you still own one share, but you don't own 10% because now there's 20 shares available, you own 5%. You own less of the company. When you're buying a stock, you're not buying a ticker, you're not buying a price on a chart, you're buying an actual business. Really start understanding this, that dilution is not good for long-term investors. So this is dead worrying to me because, again, dilution is gonna have to come. It is going to come. It's going to come, and it's going to be a bloodbath to the downside. It's going to freak shareholders out. In fact, I think this 20% drop is sort of from a lot of people realizing it's going to come. And I think the only people who haven't realized this yet are probably, no offense, people who are watching YouTube videos hoping to get some like inkling in that there is some hope here in the short term. And I really don't think there's too much hope in the short term, because I think this stock will go down a hell of a lot more. But let's have a little look at the positives, because I am interested in this company. If you are a returning subscriber, or you're a member of Patreon or the chat room or anything like that, you will know that I made 138% in little over a month buying Virgin Galactic stock from around about May and selling after just before Richard Branson went to space, should I say, in June. I think it was like June the 25th. You'll see it on screen now. But I made a decent return on this, and it was dead simple, to be honest. It was buy the rumor, sell before the news. That was what I was thinking here. I knew that we live in a market where people go on YouTube, look at these videos, and it sounds sort of counterintuitive because you're watching mine right now, but we live in a world where people are going to pump up Bitcoin, they're going to pump up AMC, and these crowds get together and they can push a stock price higher. We've seen a literal billionaire, one of the greatest sort of businessmen of our time, go into space on a dream. I knew it was going to be televised everywhere. I knew it would be on every news channel, and it'd be all over the world, and people would rush to buy this company. So I got in low, not with big size, and sold high. Sold before the news came out, because I knew straight after the stock price is going to go up, and that would be the perfect time for Virgin Galactic to sell shares at an inflated price. That's what companies want to do. They want to sell shares at high prices when the company is overvalued, and they want to buy back shares when they think it's cheap. They're doing the same thing you are doing. Think about it. But the reason I'm mentioning this is I know there's going to be a few haters on this video, and I want to prove to you that I do like the concept. I do think if they get into space and they start selling tickets on a regular basis, there's enough people out there, I've done a previous video on their potential revenues, for this company to do very well. I think that if they get flights going on a weekly basis, they can make a hell of a lot of money and move away from commercial tourism and into even more deeper space projects. But the point here is when you see a stock go up crazy amounts like 130%, you need to be starting to look at locking in gains, if not your whole position, especially if it's in a short period, especially on speculative stocks that are very far away from profitability. But now SpaceX is coming back towards my entry at around about $20. Should I buy in again? No, I shouldn't, because Richard Branson's already gone to space. That hype train has left, and it's left a lot of bag holders. In the short term, I think this company could, and it's not going to be popular here, I think this company really could go down to $10. I think it could fall another 50%. If they do an offering, they're doing it at a low price, and it's to survive, not to thrive, which could really push this company down. If it goes down to 10, will I buy it? No, absolutely not. Again, because I need to see what's going to happen in the future. I will look at this company, simply put, in 6 months' time. And I hope, honestly, if you're invested, I hope I'm completely wrong and this goes to the moon for you, because I love watching the flights. I love to see space travel. I get my kick from that as much as I do from making money on stocks. But the point is, I don't see it happening. I think they're going to need to dilute investors by a hell of a lot, because they're going to need a year's worth of cash flow. And as it stands, they've only got enough for like 2 quarters, literally 2 quarters. And this company is going to need to get loans or dilute investors, and both are not good for shareholders. So I know it's going to be very unpopular, but unfortunately for me, when I would buy Virgin Galactic would probably be middle of next year, if I see the prices being a crazy discount and it looks like they're starting to sell tickets. I think Virgin have got a really big problem right now in the fact that they need other sources of revenue, and they don't have them. They've only got really sales of tickets to space, and it's not going to happen till the last quarter next year. Why would you, a millionaire, someone who's clearly 90% of them intelligent to a degree, and you wouldn't put your money there when you've got other companies sending people to space, especially if you look at SpaceX, who I think will go in more commercial. They're sending people to space for days. Okay, the ticket's more expensive. They've openly said their ticket's going to be much more expensive than Virgin Galactic's. But if you can afford $500,000 US, there's a good chance most of these people can afford $1 million. So why would you go for a couple of minutes when you can go for a couple of days? To me, this is sort of the logical approach, and I think that Virgin will struggle in the future. So if you want to see when I will buy Virgin Galactic stock, you can check out Patreon down in the description. I post all my buys and sell alerts as they happen in the WhatsApp group, but there's only 1 or 2 spaces available. And if you want to see when is the perfect time to exactly sell a stock, check out that video up there, and I go through my process on when is the perfect time to sell a stock. That's it from me. Make sure that like button is smashed, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.